I woke up not recognizing anyone. And I think at that moment I was just like, okay, this too shall pass. I've been hearing this too shall pass since my mother's death.
You've come to a safe space for your little girl. I'm Dr. Staci. This is the place where your little girl can share what's been unspoken, can be heard, to feel safe and loved. Our guest today shows up from a sacred space. As the founder of Sacred Stretching, Lisa Savoy Davis coaches people to reconnect with their bodies and provide release and relief from the things they deal with: stress, grief, trauma, and the survival patterns that come with that. What do you know and remember about your little girl?
What I can remember about my little girl was that she was independent. She was too
Mm,
independent too soon. Yeah. But that is what made me heard.
mm.
So at the time I loved it.
What caused her to be so independent?
My mother died at 3. So I
Mm,
was 3 years old when she passed. And I was put into foster care. I was separated from my brother. So I woke up not recognizing anyone. And I think at that moment I was just like, okay, it is what it is.
and at 3, who sends a child to grief counseling or therapy or anything to even know how to process that?
None whatsoever. I think people believe that at 3, children don't feel as much, or they won't
Mm,
remember, or they won't connect because we didn't have the words for it. We still had the emotions. We was aware. We had our own internal language to kind of process the world around us. So I knew something was different. I
mhm.
knew my mother wasn't around. And so I think for me, it was more about there was something in me already that said, it's okay. You're okay. This too shall pass. I've been hearing this too shall pass since my mother's death. That's how I've been living life because this too shall pass. Yeah.
That's the fact that you say that. That is what I used to say to myself when I was going through my kidney disease healing journey. And all I
See?
can say is, this too will pass.
Yes.
Don't know how, don't know when, but
Nope.
what that does is inspire hope, which really connects to Staci Speaks Hope. It's that type of thinking. You have
Yes.
something to look forward to. So, what was
So,
it that you looked forward to as you said, this will pass?
well, here's the funny part, Staci. To be 3 and not to have anyone read the Bible to me. It was something already anointed inside of us. For me to hear, this too shall pass. That's a
Right, because
line
that's
in the Bible.
biblical.
Right. So
Yes.
for me, and I also said to myself when I was 3 years old, I wanted to love like Jesus. I've
Wow.
never heard the name before. I don't know who he was, but I remember me telling myself, I want to love like Jesus, and this too shall pass. So when I think about any place that my life has had any type of trauma, I've noticed it was short lived because as soon as it would start, I would say, this too shall pass. And I never had longevity in a lot of the conditions that I was put in.
Wow.
Yeah, so I had a lot of experiences, but they were short lived because I've always kept saying, this too shall pass. And I'm still living a life of this too shall pass. This is why I'm here.
So, speaking life,
Yes,
it passed because you said so.
yes,
Prayer is manifestation. You prayed a prayer
yes.
without even knowing it,
And didn't
and
even
it
know
came
I was praying the prayer.
and it came
When
to
I,
pass.
yes, and this too shall pass. And everything in my life has been that way. And this too shall pass. So I never really felt like I was a victim, even when things was happening to me,
Wow.
because this too shall pass.
So
Not
that
saying I
little,
wasn't hurt.
yeah.
Not saying I wasn't hurt. I was hurt, but I was never a victim. Even
Mm.
growing up, I was never a victim.
So what were the kinds of things you say you that caused the hurt, that really stuck with you, that you had to continue to remind yourself would pass?
So I guess it would start with being in foster care, seeing how everyone had their own lives. I was a very observant little girl. I was a watcher. And even to this today, I'm really observant. That's what got me here. I watched people's bodies, how they moved, how their belief system. I just watched. I love watching adults. So watching adults, I realized there was some pain inside them.
Mm.
I can see pain inside these adults. And that's where I started saying I wanted to heal and love like Jesus. So when situations would happen to me in the foster care, from abuse, maybe some of the workers would feel like they would probably want me to do something. I'm still trying to communicate or understand them. I didn't know. They would get angry. So there would be violence sometimes. But even in that moment, I never was angry at them. It was as if I felt Jesus inside of me saying that they're in pain. So I could see and feel their pain even at 3 and 4.
That's astonishing.
Yeah.
Such an anointing, and it says a little child will lead them. That's the word, right? And if we to love, like Jesus said, come to me as a little child. If you can care if you're able to have that and carry that, that's such a gift to offer our clients, to people listening today. If you can think through that situation and give it words when there are no words, because you didn't have words at that age.
No, I didn't.
You have the acuity, the discernment to look at the person's behavior and say, they got something going on. It's not me.
Yeah.
Because we do feel like we're wrong.
Wow. But I'm not saying I wasn't hurt. So I was disappointed. So I found myself being disappointed in the people who I looked up to care for me. I was disappointed in them. They disappointed me. So I think for me, that's why I walked around with life. I was hurt and disappointed, but I didn't point fingers. I just kept telling myself this too shall pass, and I just kept moving on.
Wow.
Yeah.
So just insight and foresight to look, I see this, it doesn't feel good, and it's going to go away. So let me look.
Yeah.
Look forward to what's coming.
Yeah. Staci, when I tell my story or my whole story, or when I talk to friends, people would always ask me, how did you not become addicted to drugs? He was on the street, maybe prostitution. I've always, even while I was having those scenarios that was happening to me, I literally still felt worthy inside, which was kind of different from most people who have a lot of trauma. Yeah. I still felt worthy. So I still felt worthy. There was a worthiness in me that even though I didn't feel loved, even though I didn't feel validated, I still felt worthy. And I think that worthiness got me here today.
If you haven't identified your patterns yet, take the Little Girl Games quiz. Find out how your little girl patterns show up. It looks at how you live as an adult and how you live as a little girl. 7 quick questions, identifying ways that we respond that begin this healing journey. So
I think everyone has different, I would say, spectrums of levels of where they're trying to heal, and how they're healing. Yeah. So I get to see that. I get to see when I talk to people where they at in their story of their ascension or their growth process, if they're stuck or if they're working through it. And I can tell if they're stuck because it shows me. That's where weight happens. And that's where I want to be a personal trainer as well, because being a personal trainer, I wanted to know, how did people get where they're at? Where did that weight come from?
Yeah.
What was their thinking? We was taught when I first got my certificate that, their weight, you can make them get on a treadmill, make them starve, and that'll be the answer. And instantly, I always felt that was off. I was like, there's something more to that. So what I started doing was I would just start talking to my clients. I couldn't just have them come into a session and I'm just going to kill you, make you do all these drills. No, it was more about, let's talk for a second. How did you get here? I was fascinated. I mean, remember, I was a people watcher growing up. Mm-hmm. So because I'm a people watcher, I was just like, wow, I'm curious about what did they do to their temple?
Yeah.
you know? And as I'm starting talking to them, I can hear what they did to their temple. I'm like, but they don't even see it. And I've been watching people for so long, not having a connection to my own family. So I was able to observe people around me. I didn't have an emotional pull. Being in foster care, you go from one home to another. So all you can do is do an observation. And then observing allowed me to know exactly how I had to be for that family.
Ooh. Okay.
So it gave me the
Just pause for
skill to
1 second.
survive and saying, okay, see, go ahead.
Just the profoundness of that. I just don't want our listeners to miss it, Lisa. You learned to
Yeah.
check the surroundings to become what you needed to become in that space. And for the purpose of, did you have words for that? Why did you know to do that?
Survival and the purpose for survival.
Yes.
I was always a survivor by being an observer. So just at 3, going on 4 and 5, every different family that I was around, I would just sit back and watch them. And I can know where I can help the situation, where I can survive, or where I knew that so much trauma has happened in that family that I knew I was going to suffer. So as I was suffering, I would still be told to me in the residence, this too shall pass. And I believed it, and it did. So as I was suffering, I wasn't suffering. Is
Correct.
that making sense?
Yes.
Yes.
The
So
the disconnect.
yes. So there's always been a disconnect in that situation to where now I can see how my growth has happened for me.
Mm.
I feel the suffering, but I don't look like I'm suffering. My body don't look like I'm suffering. My face don't look like I'm suffering. I look younger. I'm healthier. People see me and they think I'm free. And I do. I feel free because I didn't let it suffer. I feel the suffering. I felt it. Like you don't need to, I didn't feel the suffering connecting to me.
I want to say it like this. You didn't embody
Yes.
suffering
I didn't
because
embody it.
the look, the physical, your face, your body, but it
Yes.
didn't mean the suffering wasn't there. But you
Yes.
were able to recognize it as suffering, as such. But if I don't
Mm-hmm.
embody, if I don't internalize it, and I want to go back to
Yes.
something you said earlier that was a key element. You recognize a worth within you. The Bible also says a curse without a, a place to land cannot stick. So the curse of the suffering couldn't land in a place where Lisa is worthy. So
Yes.
many of us go revert to so many women, so many of my clients. It's a lack of worth
Yes.
at the core,
Yes.
or it becomes the foundation. So everything that happens just says, "Yep, I'm not worthy. Yep, I'm not
Yes.
worthy. Yep, I'm not." And to reinforce the unworthiness, we take in and embody the situations, and they become personal.
Yes.
It happened to
And,
you and for you, but not. It did not become your identity.
and that's where I excelled in personal training because I can see a person come to me and I can see they're wearing that pain.
Yes.
And now they're telling me, oh, I overeat or I don't overeat. They're telling me different things. And I'm like, I already know where they're at in their story. So once
Mm,
I start talking to them about their story to help them cipher through where they're stuck at, weight is coming off instantly.
right.
Instantly. 2, 3
That's good.
months, you can see weight coming off because I had to change here.
Yes.
The spell they gave themselves. Yes, you were hurt. Yes, gone through some things, but you
Yeah.
don't have to wear it as armor.
Right. And
And what they
layers
was
of
wearing,
armor.
yes, they was wearing it as armor, like Wakanda armor. I'm like, and so just talking to them, allowing them to have the space to cry. And then that's where sacred stretching started.
Yes.
Because I wasn't just building the strength. I was like, wait a minute, these women have the strength, but they still have tension. And tension is pain uncried.
Ooh, say that one again.
Tension is
Tension.
pain uncried. So they're walking around trying not to cry, and they have this tension. And it starts in the belly, in the neck, in the knees. And so for me, that's where sacred stretching happened, because as I'm seeing so much tension, I couldn't get a client to move the way I wanted them to move. So I said, you know what, let me open you up some. I'm thinking, how can I get them to open up? So as they're talking, they're releasing a little more. So while they're releasing, I'm realizing as I'm putting them on a table after a workout and they're stretching, how the stretch extended even more because it was releasing so much internal. And I was like, wait a minute. And I started putting connections together. And so I just started realizing that through the talk and then with the stretching, I can start seeing how pain was eliminating from the body. The trauma was releasing, their body was softening. They wasn't so rigid. You know, they started being free in their space and weight started coming off. And I just created a program around it.
That's beautiful.
Yeah.
As you walk through your healing journey, did you learn these things for yourself? Or what were the tools that you used as you grew up? You aged out of foster care at some point.
Yeah.
And how did you function in the world?
Yeah.
As a young woman in relationships, not having had the family, the disconnect. You can easily be disconnected and disassociated because there was no one to connect with. But when it was time to connect, what was that like for you?
Okay. So I was moved from family to family to family. And then when I finally got with my own biological family, some things took place. Okay. I got out of foster care, you can say probably about 7. And my father came to pick me up. But my father had a new family. At this time, I'm thinking, I'm about to have a family, like a real family. Like I'm gonna have a mother, a sister, here's my dad. I had this whole vision. When we get to that experience, it wasn't the vision that I had hoped for. It was the opposite. And so due to the fact that there was some abuse in the home, my father removed me and sent me to my grandmother's house. So I'm realizing I'm going through the cycle again, having to learn new family. And this is where I was sexually abused by family members. So my grandmother removed me from the home, and now I wasn't with my family for a while. Years passed, and then I came back to my family. And what happened was, I think the fear of knowing, like it was family rumor of what took place, but they wasn't sure. They wasn't, no one was sure about what happened. So when I came back into the family, I started speaking my truth. And I realized I think I was too truthful. Being too truthful. And so that now made them distant from me.
And can we frame that? They couldn't handle the truth.
They couldn't handle the truth. And I find myself trying to convince them that I was telling the truth. And that was tiresome.
Okay.
So after a couple of years of trying to convince them of the truth, I kind of stepped back and realized I don't need to validate what took place to me.
This is just a place of feeling so safe together. But if you heard something today that turned on a light bulb for you, let you breathe a sigh of relief that this was not everything that you've gone through, was not just the way you have to stay stuck.
Yes.
Please like, share, and subscribe, because there's more of this, and reach out. I'll make sure we follow Lisa, and if you're in the New York area.
Thank you for watching Staci Speaks Hope. Don't forget to subscribe, like, and share. To schedule a free coaching call, the link is in the description.
Grown woman, holding in story she needs to tell what God really wants you to do in this world. In His name, hope to break free from the shackles and the lies. that have become your truth and put blinders on your eyes. You built walls around your heart. You have plugged up your ears. Get freedom to hope's what you need. It's in reach. Wipe your tears